Welcome to www.theaustraliantest.com, your trusted resource for Australian citizenship test preparation with 12 years of experience. In this video, we will present 20 unique multiple-choice questions drawn directly from the official guide, Australian Citizenship, Our Common Bond. Each question comes with a detailed explanation to enhance your understanding. Please do not skip and watch continuously for the best learning experience. Do not forget to like, share, comment, and subscribe to our channel. Let's get started.
Question 1. In the first few years of European settlement, who overcame many problems? Option A, Frank Cassidy. Option B, Kevin Michael Rudd. Option C, Captain Arthur Phillip. Option D, Dirk Hartog. The correct answer is Captain Arthur Phillip. Explanation: the first governor of the colony of New South Wales was Captain Arthur Phillip. He overcame many problems in the first few years of European settlement. Question 2. In which elections is voting compulsory in Australia? Option A, federal elections only. Option B, state elections only. Option C, federal, state, and territory elections. Option D, local government elections only. The correct answer is federal, state, and territory elections. Explanation: voting is compulsory in federal and state or territory elections. It may not be compulsory to vote in local government elections in some states. Question 3. Select the correct details about Torres Strait Islander people. Option A, they are not one of the oldest cultures with continuity worldwide. Option B, they originate from South Australia and mainland Australia. Option C, they are natives of islands present to the north of Queensland. Option D, they are natives of islands present to the west of Queensland. The correct answer is they are natives of islands present to the north of Queensland. Explanation: Torres Strait Islanders are from islands to the north of Queensland. They have a distinct cultural identity. Question 4. What does the Commonwealth of Australia denote? Option A, a federation of states and territories. Option B, a federation of territories. Option C, a federation of states. Option D, a unitary state. The correct answer is a federation of states and territories. Explanation: the Commonwealth of Australia is a federation of states and territories. There are 6 states and 2 mainland territories. Question 5. Where can the Commonwealth star be found on the Australian national flag? Option A, besides the Union Jack. Option B, over the Union Jack. Option C, under the Union Jack. Option D, in the center of the flag. The correct answer is under the Union Jack. Explanation: the Commonwealth star is under the Union Jack. This star has 7 points, 1 point for each of the 6 states and 1 for the territories. Question 6. Who is responsible for the interpretation and application of the law? Option A, the courts. Option B, the House of Representatives. Option C, the ministers. Option D, the Governor General. The correct answer is the courts. Explanation: the courts in Australia are responsible for interpreting and applying the law. They are independent of the government. The courts decide if a person has broken the law or not and decide the penalty. Question 7. The Union Jack in the Australian national flag represents Option A, Aboriginal people of Australia. Option B, spiritual relation to the earth and the land. Option C, our history of British settlement. Option D, Australia's independence from Britain. The correct answer is our history of British settlement. Explanation: the flag of the United Kingdom, known as the Union Jack, is in the top left corner. The flag represents our history of British settlement. Question 8. What are the mainland territories of Australia? Option A, Australian Capital Territory and Northern Territory. Option B, Australian Capital Territory and Southern Territory. Option C, Australian Capital Territory and Western Territory. Option D, Australian Capital Territory and Eastern Territory. The correct answer is Australian Capital Territory and Northern Territory. Explanation: the Commonwealth of Australia is a federation of states and territories. There are 6 states and 2 mainland territories. Mainland territories are Australian Capital Territory and Northern Territory. Question 9. What is the significance of 26th January? Option A, we celebrate Australia Day. Option B, we celebrate the Queen's birthday. Option C, we celebrate Anzac Day. Option D, we celebrate Christmas Day. The correct answer is we celebrate Australia Day. Explanation: on 26 January each year, we celebrate Australia Day. Australia Day is a public holiday in every state and territory in Australia. Question 10. Australia's laws must be obeyed by Option A, the police only. Option B, the representatives in Parliament only. Option C, everyone in Australia. Option D, only Australian citizens. The correct answer is everyone in Australia. Explanation: everyone must obey Australia's laws. If they don't obey the law, they may be arrested by the police and have to go to court. Question 11. Choose an example of equality in Australia from the options below. Option A, men and women have the same rights. Option B, everyone belongs to the same political party. Option C, everyone follows the same religion. Option D, only men have voting rights. The correct answer is men and women have the same rights. Explanation: men and women have equal rights in Australia. It is against the law to discriminate against a person because of their gender. Question 12. Which statement about freedom of speech in Australia is true? Option A, people can harm others through speech. Option B, people cannot express their opinions publicly. Option C, people are allowed to speak and write what they think within legal limits. Option D, freedom of speech is not protected in Australia. The correct answer is people are allowed to speak and write what they think within legal limits. Explanation: in Australia, we are free to say and write what we think, privately or publicly, about any topic. However, we cannot harm others or incite violence. Question 13. Sometimes the Senate is also referred to as Option A, the State's House. Option B, the Lower House. Option C, House of Representatives. Option D, the People's House. The correct answer is the state's house. Explanation: the Senate is sometimes called the upper house, the House of Review, or the state's house. Question 14. What is the local government responsible for? Option A, defense. Option B, air safety and airports. Option C, noise and animal control. Option D, public transport. The correct answer is noise and animal control. Explanation: local governments and the Australian Capital Territory government are responsible for noise and animal control. Question 15. What do Australian citizens pledge in the Citizenship Oath? Option A, loyalty to the British Crown. Option B, loyalty to Australia and its people. Option C, loyalty to the Australian Constitution. Option D, loyalty to the Prime Minister. The correct answer is loyalty to Australia and its people. Explanation: the Australian citizenship, our common bond, explicitly states that Australian citizens pledge their loyalty to Australia and its people in the Citizenship Pledge. Question 16. The Torres Strait Islanders belong to the islands north of Option A, Victoria. Option B, Queensland. Option C, New South Wales. Option D, Northern Territory. The correct answer is Queensland. Explanation: Torres Strait Islanders are from islands to the north of Queensland. They have a distinct cultural identity. Question 17. Australia's floral emblem is Option A, acacia. Option B, acacia dilbata. Option C, the golden wattle. Option D, waratah. The correct answer is the golden wattle. Explanation: Australia's floral emblem is the golden wattle. This small tree grows mainly in southeastern Australia. It has bright green leaves and many golden yellow flowers in spring. Question 18. Which statement about freedom of association in Australia is true? Option A, gathering to protest is not allowed. Option B, gathering to protest against religion is always allowed. Option C, gathering with others to protest against the government is allowed, if peaceful. Option D, all protests require government permission. The correct answer is gathering with others to protest against the government is allowed, if peaceful. Explanation: Australians can gather with others to protest against a government action or an organization. However, all protests must be within the law. This means they must be peaceful and must not injure any person or damage property. Question 19. Which statement about state governments in Australia is true? Option A, the state government operates differently from the Australian government. Option B, the states do not have separate governments. Option C, state governments operate in a similar way to the Australian government. Option D, state governments have more power than the federal government. The correct answer is state governments operate in a similar way to the Australian government. Explanation: state governments operate in a similar way to the Australian government. In each state, a governor represents the King of Australia. Question 20. What is the leader of the second largest party or coalition in the House of Representatives called? Option A, leader of the second. Option B, leader of the opposition. Option C, leader of the ruling party. Option D, deputy prime minister. The correct answer is leader of the opposition. Explanation: after a federal election, the party or coalition of parties with the second largest number of members in the House of Representatives forms the opposition. Its leader is called the leader of the opposition.
Thanks for watching. We hope you answered all the questions correctly and this practice test helped you prepare for your Australian citizenship test. Remember to check out www.theaustraliantest.com for more free resources and practice tests. Do not forget to like, comment, and subscribe for more helpful content. Good luck on your journey to Australian citizenship.